Arts and Culture Minister Nathi Mthethwa is meeting with various stakeholders to pave the way for a convention on nation building and social cohesion.
The meeting follows the spate of racist remarks made on social media. Mthethwa says arts and culture should be prioritised in government policies. He says the current display of racism shows that the policy focus on political transition and economic empowerment is flawed.
We should be practical about the challenges we are faced with. We should also be ready to implement what we decide on. And this is a sharp reminder that no amount of abstract ideas will resolve our problems, and we must begin to focus on creative, practical, simple, accessible methods and solutions that will resonate with the masses of our people. We should have grounded practical strategies and impactful solutions informed and inspired by societal mobilization at different epochs of our struggle for justice. A requisite step is to acknowledge the fact that we may have diverse background and histories, but we have a shared country.
Arts and Culture Minister there, Nathi Mthethwa. But let's get more from that meeting in Sandton. Our reporter Aldrin Sampear is there. Aldrin, good afternoon to you. So regulation, let's start there. Regulation over racism has been a talking point, with many uncertain about how it will work. Has the minister given clarity?
Well, the minister is quite clear that he's in support of that call by the ANC that racism should be criminalized. Just speaking to him during a press briefing that he had after his keynote address, he did indicate that there is a plan of action to make sure that people know that racism is not allowed in this country. And he says what should happen now is that racists should be kept aside, they should be criminalized, they should be arrested, and that's the call coming from the minister. However, though, there will be the convention, the National Convention on Social Cohesion, as well as nation building and reconciliation, that will be convened by the ministry at some point, hopefully later this year, after all the industries that have made some submissions here today are done with their research and are ready to give some sort of input in terms of the legislative framework that the country should take heading forward to ensure that we are a country that lives quite cohesively. Well, another question that was raised by the panelists here is that how do we discuss reconciliation when the country had never reconciled? You can only reconcile once you've at some point have consulted. So those are some of the discussions that will be taking place here today, as well as heading into that national convention that, as I said earlier on, might be taking place later this year.
And Aldrin, the issue of white supremacy, what is the minister saying about this, how it's manifesting itself, and what are the remedies?
Well, actually, one of the submissions that was made by the panelists here is that what the government should also focus on, and when they start having these dialogues with different stakeholders and so forth, is how do you change the psyche of South Africans, black South Africans, as well as white South Africans, that we are all equal, we are all human beings, and we are all humans, and that's the race that that the country should be focusing on. That as white people, as well as white people, as well as black people, that we are all equal in South Africa, and that's what we should be dealing with in terms when it comes to the psyche of black people as well as white people, because you do get that sense, though, when some black people come across white people, that they all of a sudden feel that they're inferior. And you do find that some white people feel that they're quite superior when they're amongst their black peers.
All right, Aldrin, thank you very much for that update. Our reporter Aldrin Sampear live from that conference in Sandton.